I'm sick. Sick, I tell you. I've got some kind of weird blue-type virus, and I've been flopping around in bed for 4 days straight, slowly marinating my pasty carcass with my own feverish sweat. Every time I leave the room, I start shivering. My head hurts. The whole world has turned to shit and garbage. Nowhere to go. Nothing to do except lie there, staring at cable TVs with dead, unappreciative eyes. And every channel is making me angry. VH1, Billy Ocean. MTV, some Norwegian himbo called Umlaut or something, trying to interview the fucking Spice Girls. Sky Movies, a true story of God, this fucking scum. Someday a real rain's gonna come and wash this shit off the street. I need to shoot something. Which is why it's just as well I've got a copy of Robotron X to review. It's just what the doctor ordered. In case you've never encountered the original Robotron, either in the arcades or as part of the Williams Classics pack that came out a few months back, allow me to explain. Robots of the world have risen and started exterminating their masters, i.e. us. With alarming efficiency, they managed to annihilate everybody on the planet except for one family and, naturally, you. You can guess the rest. You had to kill the bots and save the remaining members of the last family on Earth. Still, the plot was never the important thing. What was important was the way it played. Viewed from overhead, it shoved you, yes you, into a cramped electronic arena, populated with about 10,000 psychotic robots. You could run in any direction and shoot in any direction. The important point being that you didn't have to fire in the same direction that you were travelling, if you see what I mean. To this end, the arcade cabinet had 2 joysticks on the front, one for movement, one for shooting bang-bangs. Gameplay couldn't be simpler. All you had to do was keep on moving and firing. But somehow it could hold your attention for ages. It never let up. Chaos, carnage and claustrophobia blended together to produce a cathartic nightmare of the game. The basic concept has been given several overhauls since the original Robotron appeared, notably with Smash TV, Loaded, and even the Chaos engine. And now Williams, who were responsible for the game in the first place, have seen fit to drag the original game, kicking and shooting, into the 90s. Which brings us to Robotron X. Robotron X is in many ways exactly the same as a Robotron of old. Gameplay is identical. After all, as they say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Using a 4-button gamepad to mimic the twin joystick control system of the original, it's a non-stop exercise in good old-fashioned mindless killage. Robots come at you from all sides in a seemingly never-ending stream. You can't stand still for a second unless you fancy getting a teeth punch through the back of your head, and furthermore, you better not stop firing at them either, or they'll be all over you like ants on a lollipop. It's Robotron as it's always been. What has radically changed is the visuals. Gone are the simple blocky sprites of yesteryear, replaced by bang-up-to-date polygon equivalents. The fixed top-down viewpoint has been superseded by an altogether funkier, roving camera view, which zooms in and out, spins around, and generally does its best to make you feel like some kind of rad cyber dude shooting out a spotted boiler in rad cyberspace. It's slick, it's fast, and it's very, very smooth, on a decent Pentium. Now, the clever thing here is the way that programmers and designers have managed to retain the look and feel of the original. It's kind of hard to explain how they've managed it, but they most certainly have. And what you're left with is something that looks very similar to the oldie-worldy Robotron, yet at the same time is indisputably modern. In last month's preview, I wrote that if you imagined a Robotron sequence taking place in the movie Tron, you'd be pretty close to what's on offer here. Since I can't think of a better analogy, blame this bloody flu is dreading my ability to think, I'll stick with that one. It's the most postmodern gaming experience I can imagine. Okay? But is it any good? Well, that's a tough one. The answer would have to be yes and no. If you've ever seen any of George Romero's classic zombie movies, You'll know there's always a scene where one of the characters will suddenly find themselves completely surrounded by a shambling horde of undead nasties, all of them desperately clawing and grasping at the free lunch that's just appeared before them. And just when you think it's over, the live human stuck in the middle will manage to find a way out, usually involving shooting the heads off most of the zombies in a manner so grisly and stomach-churning that the BBFC will cut out the footage, proving the shears. Well, that's what Robotron X is like, all the time. It's got about, no exaggeration, 200 levels, but they're all pretty much the same. Blam, 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 in other words. Now, this is satisfying, very satisfying, for a while, but there's no denying it also gets damn repetitive. This is a game completely devoid of depth and variety. Nothing wrong with that if you're just looking for a quick fix, but don't go expecting anything more, or you'll be sorely disappointed. It's the ideal game to play for about 20 minutes during a coffee break, when you're not enjoying that day in the office, your boss is shouting at you, or your girlfriend's run off with a Cyclops. It's a stress buster, no more no less, all of which makes it pretty difficult to apply a score to. The mark I've given it here is pretty generous when you compare it to something like Quake or Tomb Raider. That's because I'm assuming that you, yes you, are a shoot-em-up fan who's both familiar with the original Robotron and curious to know how this compares. The rest of you can just sod off and watch something else instead, okay? 80%, just like the first one, only more so.
You're charging your victory, and now we're full of energy. We are the robots.